When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.
Hey, welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drewbie Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing those stories to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community, because let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. It doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, you can create an amazing life in sales. And today's guest, no stranger to the journey. He's my friend, Mr. Chad Brown. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you having me on. Love it.
I'm excited to have you, brother. I know we've been connected for a long time, but I want to jump right in and I want to hear your craziest sales story.
Yeah, man. Being a CPA, I don't have too many crazy stories, but, I'm in a few groups out there, masterminds or whatever, and just connecting with folks and happened to speak with a guy. This is about 12 months ago now. And we were just casual conversation, no sales, no nothing, just what's going on and getting to know each other. And I said, oh, you're in the engineering business. And we got to talking. I said, have you ever looked at X, Y, and Z credits? And he said, no, we wouldn't apply, whatever. I introduced him to a team I work with to do it. And lo and behold, in the last 12 months, he's gotten over $270,000 worth of tax credits. So it was a sale that wasn't supposed to be a sale. And they won, man. They won big.
That's awesome. I always love those little weird interactions where you're chatting with somebody and you're just like casually like, whoa, have you ever thought about this? And their whole brain just like flips over. I have a guy I'm friends with at the campground, and I was talking to him. He owns a painting business, I think. Okay. And he was like, yeah, man, I love your truck and this, that, whatever. And I was like, well, the cool thing is when you do it right, the business can write off portions of it. And, obviously talk to a smarter person like Chad than me, but, there's a way you can do that. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, I know some people that got like Tesla trucks and all kinds of wild stuff. And he, swear to God, a month later rolls up in a brand new Tesla truck. He's like, hey, man, I talked to my CPA. He said I could totally do this. And he said he's gotten more business driving around in that silly truck than he's like, it's so crazy, dude. So it's fun when those things happen.
Yeah, it is. And every good thing generally starts with conversation first, right? I mean, that's the beauty of it.
It is. So I'm curious, man, what, to be honest and not to hate on it, but CPA is not the most sexy job in the world. How did you end up in that field? What made you decide to really start paying attention to the numbers like that?
Yeah. So, it started, my dad was an accountant and he was director of federal tax for a large Fortune 500 company. And I went off to college, partied, did my thing, and then was kind of interning as a plumber because I was like, college isn't for me, man, and I said, I did that commercial plumbing gig to maybe enter the apprenticeship program and spent a week with a tamper, packing dirt on a pipe. Take that for what you will. And I'm like, man, maybe I should get back in school. So I decided to jump back in and pursued accounting. It provided him a good life, great father, great family. And it's like no entrepreneurial aspirations at that point, but that's the route I went. So that's why I got into it. And now after, doing it for a number of years in a firm and then opening up some retail tax franchises and getting more into the entrepreneurship side, accounting is not one of the things I really enjoy, but I understand it and I have a good team that enjoys it and does it. So my role is just to have conversations with people and like the gentleman, that we save a significant amount of money and just see if there's a fit or opportunity for them, whether it's us that helps them with it or someone else. It's just, and that's what I get enjoyment out of is the passion, looking at the numbers, helping small businesses interpret the numbers, save money by, thinking maybe outside the box on some things or, or help keep some of them out of jail because they're thinking too outside the box, you know?
Well, and that's a whole other conversation we could have about, you get in the room with what you think are smart people and they all got brilliant ideas. And then all of a sudden you're talking to somebody that actually does this and they're like, do not turn this in. Yeah. Do not pass go. Do not try to collect your $200. You will go directly to jail. Because and that's something I think is kind of a conversation that's worth having in this space, right? There's so much noise on social media. There's so many people that are like, hey, you can do this with your taxes, or here's how you go get this tax-free money and do it. Like, I mean, there's so many different ways to play the game. I think a lot of people are getting caught up in stuff because they're trying to play like too many different games in too many different ways at once. So like, what do you see as some of the biggest mistakes or most common mistakes that some of these young entrepreneurs are making that are putting themselves in a bad position that way?
Yeah. A couple of things that I see out there from, a tax perspective is, especially with small businesses, is there's overcomplication, overcomplicating something that shouldn't be, right? There's unique things that you can do and some complexities you can add to it, but it's not necessary in most cases. And I run into it all the time where they talk to somebody that knows the game, right? And they have the trust structure and all this structure and everything structure. And it's kind of like I equate it to a quarter, a coach in the fourth quarter that plays prevent defense and ends up losing the damn game because they just overcomplicate it. Keep playing the game, right? And then make adjustments as you go. Don't just change at the last 5 minutes of the game and then you open up the field and lose it. So there's some cute things out there that people try to do. A lot of times they make sense. Unfortunately, the folks can't execute it the right way and they leave. So, and then there's a instance like the other day, somebody posted in a group that I'm in that their CPA wanted to have them meet with an attorney and meet with an attorney to draft a loan document so they could reclassify some of their distributions as loans, and they were going to charge $7,500 to do it. And I'm like, this is freaking crazy. So there's a lot of folks out there that are just spouting stuff, sounding smart and important, and it's a very simple thing, to do.
I will say that over the years, I have learned a couple of very expensive lessons in that very same fashion, right? It's like, all right, well, here's a guy that you should trust because he's trusted by a bunch of people. So, check it out. And then it's like, all right, here's what you need to do. And this is what it's going to cost you. And it's like, okay. And then what? And then you realize like, man, I paid all this money to do this thing and maybe it worked, but I could have just kept that money and put it into something else and it would have been just about the same result end page anyways, right? Like, I think that's to your point. When you overcomplicate some of these things, you're really just reducing what you can benefit from in the big picture. Because if you got to pay this guy for this thing and you got to pay for this thing, like, what is it actually saving you?
Yeah. I always tell people, especially, from a sales perspective, right? Because that's where a lot of these guys are really, really good because they understand that sales game and that, pleasure, pain, all this stuff, right? And so they create this immense level of pain, paying taxes, overpaying compared to your neighbor, compared to your colleagues, whatever, based on that income. And they say, this is what I did for somebody else. And this is, well, you can say, yeah, we did this, we saved this much tax. But ultimately, when you save taxes, you're typically spending money to do it. And if you're not investing dollars and utilizing capital you have to put over here, if you're not utilizing that and they're saying we can miraculously save you tax, question it. If it sounds too good to be true, question it. Always talk to 3 people.
Okay.
Talk to a salesy guy, then call your local mom and pop guy and see what he says. And just question it and run that by because a lot of times you're right. These tax strategies are beautiful, right? They save you a lot of money, like a real estate. That's a big one. folks want to get into real estate. Hey, let's go buy a $100,000 property. We can write it off. Well, if you make a lot of money, you can't write off losses because there's suppressed losses because it's passive activity. But you also have to come up with 25% down to buy a $100,000 property. And if you want to depreciate it and you qualify, you can cost seg it, but you're only getting 20% of that 100,000 that you can deduct in the first year. So you're out 50 grand, 25 grand to save 4.
I mean, so this is the maths.
Yeah, that's the sales game that people play, though. They show the one side, but then they don't show the backside.
Well, and what I've learned personally, and we're kind of getting a little into the weeds a bit because every situation's different. Yeah. But what I've learned and seen is a lot of people, they go in making X amount of money and like they build a strategy, and then maybe they start making a little bit more money. And then all of a sudden they've been building this Honda Civic that they're going to drive off into retirement. And then like 5 or 10 years in, they're like, you know what? I don't like this Honda Civic anymore. I want a Lamborghini. And then they go and they buy the Lamborghini. And now they've completely upended everything and started over. And then maybe they're doing good for a couple of years and the Lamborghini's awesome. But then maybe there's a downturn in the economy. And the Lamborghini's not such an economical car anymore. And so now they're going like, well, can I get back into my Honda Civic? And you're going, no, you've already thrown that thing in the dumpster. It's some old lady's driving that thing now. So Is that something that you see a lot? I know I've seen it, but I'm just curious if that's something you've seen as well.
Yeah, I've seen from a tax strategy, it's just like any dollar you spend in your business, right? It's got to provide an ROI. And I see a lot of people that, maybe it's Lamborghinis or whatever for influencers or whatnot. They can write it off as a business deductions. A lot of those are probably questionable even to begin with. But buying a depreciating asset that you don't need to make money, that's not going to return a dollar for you just so you can save 20 cents to every dollar on taxes is stupid. Unless you're smart financially and you just want a Lamborghini and you can afford it, even if things valley and peak for, that's always my advice. It might make sense. If you're a construction guy and need a new truck and can put a guy in it with tools to go make you money. If you want to buy a, $200,000 pimped out, dually to ride around town and sell insurance, probably not viable unless you're selling to cattle ranchers, right?
Well, and I think it is an interesting thing. I was having this conversation with someone earlier about kind of aligning with your clientele and where you are in your journey and where you fit in, because there are the people that are very luxury based. I want Rolex and Hermes and all the fancy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
And objectively, there are also people out there who have way more money than the people that have the fancy stuff, because they're like, hey, I just like to live a simple life and I reinvest and I do this. And like everyone's perspective around what success should be is their perspective.
Yeah.
And I love how because we've worked together and we've chatted a little bit on the, offline. It's like, you're very much about like, what's your goal and how can we help you achieve your goal in the most effective manner possible?
Yeah.
Where did you find that as the best course of action for you? Because there are a lot of people out there that are, like you said, they're very salesy. They're very just kind of like get the deal done. But I've seen you have a very consultative approach. So I'm just curious kind of where you learned that from.
Yeah, because I don't like to be sold. I like to be educated and questioned. If you ask my team or my business partner, my wife, anything about me, what's one of the most irritating things about me is I question everything. But if you ask the same people what my number one quality was, is that I question everything. I think I play a role as a devil's advocate, and I think as a service provider, I want my clients to win. Our job is to optimize their growth and financial well-being, essentially, for their business, their family, and how it impacts their overall life. And what goals are a part of that, right? Spending money on stuff you want is a part of that. But if you call me and we have a conversation and you're looking for somebody that's a yes person that's probably not me. And whatever your financial situation, but if somebody called me and wanted to buy a $150,000 truck and they were profiting $50,000 a year from their business and had, their wife works, why you need a $150,000 truck, to sell insurance or to do this. I mean, you can do that in your car. You're pretty good at it, keep building, keep stacking. I'm not telling them not to do it. I'll say, this is what cash flow looks like. This is what it doesn't. Don't bet on blue sky, and they may agree or disagree, and that's on them, and there's no judgment. It's just like, but that's what we're here for. It's not just to do debits and credits and categorize transactions. It's to really have conversations that are real, and some hurt, some don't, but that's what I expect from, my advisors and people. Like, just be straight. Let's good, bad, and the ugly, and see where it washes out.
Yeah, I appreciate that about you and your team, man. It's sometimes, especially when it comes to like the money, right? This is a conversation that so many people will kind of tiptoe or dance around, but like there's certain people in your life that you have to be able to get very, very clear with, and your money guy is one of them. And in being able to have a relationship with someone where you can be honest and transparent about things and non-judgmental to a degree, like we all got our internal judgments, like,
yeah, sure,
this dude might be a fool, but hey, sometimes the fools win too. So like, cheerio, big guy. And it's so fun because we do get to see people really grow and transition, and we get to see some of the switches flip as we work with them over time. You mentioned one early on, right? This guy you randomly have a conversation with, he kind of $250,000 in tax refunds that he's getting. What have been some of the other like really cool or just crazy things that you were like, I can't believe that happened, but this happened and here we are?
Oh gosh, from the accounting world.
Have you ever found anything just like totally crazy where you've like pulled a string and all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, this is wild?
Yeah, a few times. I think it's really around, I think we talked before this. Sales is not sales, it's conversation. And good things happen when you talk to good people. And we took over a firm this year that, good or bad, short term, I mean, it's just keeps me up at night, but long term it'll be good, just through conversation. And we were able to provide a gentleman who needed to retire an opportunity to retire. His plan A had left and had no plan B, and so we worked something out that was mutually beneficial. And that was just through a conversation with somebody I knew 20 years ago that I happened to run into at a soccer field, because his daughter played on the club team in the age group below my daughters, and they were at the same tournament. So, I mean, just conversations with people and talking, and he brought something up, and I said, hey, I might be able to help. That's all I said, and we made a deal happen. Just looking at clients that might be a mess, and we're able to pull it together and actually help them get some financing to clean up their balance sheet, from some of these loans that they got in under. Great business, great revenue, great upside, getting murdered by rates. And I see that so much, man. Just these high interest rate loans, and I get it. There's a purpose for them, but if you're not disciplined when you get those, and a lot of, entrepreneurs, man, let's go, right?
Hey, I'll figure that out tomorrow. Just worry about today. Just like, we'll figure that out later. And then you're looking at it going, I don't know how to figure this out. Holy
and then you're really at the mercy of riding that line. And that one, I was talking to a guy yesterday, scaling his business, growing, has some of these MCA loan, working to get them down. He's a client. It's 70 degrees in the Midwest in February. Not many people are getting their furnace work done or their AC checked. His business has taken a dip over last year, so now he's riding that line. It's that balance, and he'll get through it. I know he will, but there's so many out there like it. So those aha moments saying, hey, we can really help, but that's where I think the devil's advocate in me comes out is, I'll call bullshit on some things that maybe other people wouldn't. And it costs us sales, it costs us opportunities, but I think in the long run, it helps us help our clients win.
And I think that's the most important part. At the end of the day, man, if you're in this game for any other reason but besides helping your clients win, I hate that for you. Like the thing I love most about being in sales is knowing that I genuinely get to wake up every day and help other people have a better life. And do I make good money because of it? Absolutely. But you know what, man? Other people get to have great lives, and that's totally worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I say from a sales perspective, for me is like if you the best marketing, the best spend is spending time executing on what you said you were going to do. Because if you do that, man, especially in our industry and probably your industry, because I know there's a lot of folks out there that just sell flashy, the execution, isn't pulled through. If you execute, they're going to tell people, man, because there's tons of folks that just need good people to work with, and they're hurting out there. They really are. I mean, my industry, 70% of the CPAs are going to retire within the next 10 years.
Wow. Is that real?
It's to say it's happening in the insurance industry, everything, the little service-based industries, because the current providers or owners are aging out, and everybody wants to be an internet influencer or, work from home or, for real. Nobody wants to be a CPA or insurance agent. They want to deal with AI and tech and the cool stuff, right? I don't blame them. I mean, but,
that is the game. And, man, we could probably sit and nerd out on this stuff for many hours, and I know there will be another time where we probably will off camera. But I want to be respectful of your time today. How do we come find you, follow you, check out more of your content? I know you've been really putting out a lot of great stuff on social media lately, so what's the best place for us to check it out?
Yeah, you can go to Facebook. It's Chad Brown. Instagram, Chad S. Brown CPA, I believe. We're on TikTok. I'm the bald guy with glasses talking taxes, So look me up on any of those channels. I'm on LinkedIn as well. But yeah, or our website, KenslerBrown.com.
Well, I will make sure we put all that in the show notes so everybody can come find you, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. It's been a blast.
You bet, brother. Appreciate the time.
Listen, if you guys enjoyed the show, if you got something valuable from it, share it on social media. Tag me, tag Chad. Let the world know you enjoyed the episode. Maybe you know somebody who's doing some really sketchy tax stuff, and they need to hear this. You don't have to say, like, hey, man, I know you're doing sketchy stuff. Just send them this episode. Be like, hey, man, I heard this guy. He's pretty brilliant. Go check it out. I think you'll get something from it, because that's what this is all about. Sharing the movement, sharing the stories, helping people grow and get better every single day. And if maybe you've got a story that you want to share to help some other people grow, I want you to be here. Be a guest. Head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your details. Get signed up. We'd love to have you. When you're heading out, grab a hat, keychain, sweatshirt, a book, something to support the show, and go call the damn leads. We'll see you guys next time.
When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.